What's up? Jay the Trigger Trainer, Firearms Instructor. This open carry bill is still the buzz of the talk of the town across the state, and so we are going to stress and educate on places that you can and cannot carry a weapon. I used to say without a concealed. Since we're permitless carry, I don't say that anymore. Now I'll say where you can carry a weapon, period, whether it is openly or concealed. These are places that you are not allowed to bring a weapon into. I've gotten some other questions too about armed security and how they need to navigate the complex gun laws. What is it like to actually possess a gun inside of a car? What does that still stand as? So we will dive deep into it all. So first thing we'll start with is places that you can and cannot carry. And I always start with schools and federal property because this is where all the sheriffs have stressed that you cannot carry a firearm. So those are the places that we're going to start with, whether it is the post office, whether it is your kid's high school, elementary school, college campus. You cannot open carry on these properties at all. So you cannot open carry on these properties at all. So these are places to avoid. And when we say property, we mean property, not just the buildings they occupy. So the parking lot also counts, whether it is, like I said, the local college for graduations, your kid's school. With schools, you cannot be in 1,000 feet of a school with a weapon. So if you plan on walking down the street with whichever type of weapon you have, you cannot do it within 1,000 feet of a school. So schools can't do it. Any schools, colleges, professional athletic events not involving firearms. So I equate this one to major stadiums. If it is in Orlando, Kia Center, Orlando City, Camping World, all these are places that you cannot bring your firearms to. So major stadiums, no-go zones. Hospitals that provide a mental health service. Just assume every hospital, especially in Florida, we're a red flag state. You can be Baker Act and martial acted at all hospitals. So that is a mental health service. You are not allowed to bring your firearms into those type of buildings, especially not openly or concealed. You cannot bring a firearm there, period. And let's clarify just at this far in, that includes open or concealed. You cannot bring your firearms. It doesn't even matter. These are just weapons in total that you cannot bring your firearms to. Any police, sheriff, highway patrol, station, detention facility, jail, or prison. I think that's common sense. If you walk into jail or prison, open carrying a weapon, you will stay the night. Don't call me. I can't help. Any courtroom without a judge permission, there's not a judge in America. Again, that's federal property or at least government property, so you cannot bring it. Any place of polling. With midterm elections coming up soon, it is a third-degree felony for voter intimidation to walk into any place of polling with a weapon on you. So do not do it. Private property upon receiving actual post-it notice, interest of firearm is not permitted. This is something that we have to start stressing about now because with private property, no weapons allowed signs are not legally enforced in Florida, but we're probably going to see a change, and for business owners, this is something that you can contemplate too. If you don't have a no weapons allowed sign now, I don't recommend banning all weapons. I just recommend banning open carry on your private property to keep your vibe and your ambiance of whatever place of business and whatever your current vibe has been. I suggest explicitly getting a no weapons allowed or not no weapons allowed, no open carry sign. If you get one of those signs, you can ban people from open carrying. If you didn't have a no weapon sign before, you allowed people to conceal carry, and that was something you were okay with previously, so you should continue to be okay with it. Just because we're open carry, it's not a mandate open carry state. It's a suggestion. If you want to, you can, because it is the Constitution allows you to do so. But you as a private business owner, just like we have the right to do so, you have the right to refuse somebody to open carry. So for private businesses, I recommend a no open carry sign, and then potentially looking into armed security too, which we'll talk about after this. How to enforce that so you don't put your employees in a dangerous position where they have to argue with somebody with a gun when they don't have a gun themselves. So we'll talk more about the armed security portion when it comes to small business in a little bit. But with private property, no weapons allowed signs are not legally enforced, so you will have to trespass more people if they want to get into a statutory debate. And again, I suggest armed security in order to really deter that. Then we'll talk about legislative committee, any place of the governing body. So again, that is federal property. You're not allowed to bring your firearms inside of federal property. So legislative committee, anywhere that the government is, we will not open carry. Any portion of the establishment licensed to dispense alcohol for consumption on premise. This is talking about a bar. We cannot be at bars or at nightclubs specifically open carrying. A lot of people ask me, how does this work for downtown nightlife? With downtown, if you're not in an actual bar, they can't stop you. But if you're not allowed to go inside any of the bars downtown or any of the clubs open carrying your weapon, that is just not allowed. They all have armed security. OPD has a big presence down there. And one of the major shootings that we did see, Orange County made a statement saying that they can't really ban people from concealed carrying, and they can't stop that because the permitless carry law went into effect. Although I don't know how they would have stopped somebody from concealed carrying before, considering it's concealed. But besides the fact, you cannot open carry inside of you cannot bring a weapon to a bar specifically. So again, this is kind of what private businesses. If you're going to be a restaurant, people are going to conceal carry all day long. They can sit at high table or booth and they can consume alcohol, but they cannot sit at the bar. If you don't want people to open carry inside of your restaurant, period, then again, I suggest you have a no open carry sign. And you can either hire a singular armed security guard to enforce that at the door, or you have to put that responsibility on your hostess who's at the door, in which they may not feel comfortable. So just contemplate, see if you can work it into the budget to afford one armed security during your peak hours of business. And for the most part, during your non-peak hours, you could potentially have just your hostess take care of it because it may not be that many people. But bars, you cannot be at the bar with your firearm openly or concealed. That is a still given. Inside of an airport terminal, except for firearms encased for ship to check baggage. So you cannot open carry or conceal carry your weapon on your person inside of an airport terminal. You can fly with your firearms, but the firearm has to be inside of a lock case that has two locking mechanisms, empty ammo or empty magazine, empty firearm. You cannot have the weapon on your person. So if you try to open carry in MCO terminal or inside of any airport terminal inside of Florida, you will be arrested. That is still pretty much federal property for the most part. So you cannot actually have your firearm on your person in that instance. Any place of nuisance defined by H.305 is any place that feels like firearms should not be. So any place, if it's a trap house, drug house, or it's a place where nefarious activity is going on, if there's illegal activity happening there, you're not allowed to open carry or be in possession of a weapon. So for all of those who may live I won't say sketch your life, but you just live a type of lifestyle. I don't want to try to degrade or try to classify your lifestyle. You just live a type of lifestyle that you choose and you understand what and what it isn't. Be careful open carrying on property where they may do a sting or they may be watching that property if it's federal or local PD that is watching the property. If you're open carrying on a property where there's considered nefarious activity or activity that is illegal going on, it is a crime. Engage while hunting, fishing, or camping. This used to be our one exception. Of course, it's not an exception anymore. Engage while firearms training or testing. Yes, although a lot of gun ranges will not let you open carry inside. At a gun range, if you go to an indoor gun range, you're technically allowed to open carry there. They all ban it. None of them allow you to do it. They may allow you to do it now, but considering that you could do it before and they still prohibited you from doing so, and they have a sign, and again, going to all the other private businesses, gun ranges have signs that basically say, keep your firearm hidden. We don't want to see your firearm. And I think you guys should adopt very similar techniques and very similar signage. So be mindful of that. At a gun range, you probably still will not be able to open carry if it's an indoor range. If it's an outdoor range, you'll probably get the exception. Grocery stores or liquor stores. Yes, openly or concealed, you can go to a grocery store or liquor store and open carry. You can't drink in the liquor store in Florida, so there's nothing against it. And the grocery stores, they will never provide legal signage of why you cannot go in. A post office will have no guns allowed, Florida Statute 7906 or U.S. Title Code 18 quoting Y. Grocery stores will never have that. They'll just have a little picture of a gun with a little skip sign through it. Again, for Publix and Walmart, if you've never had a no weapons allowed sign beforehand, I don't recommend putting one up now. Put a no open carry sign up, and that will not alienate an entire base for you. So that's how you would do that one. When it comes to armed security, since we've already mentioned that for other people, for other private businesses being able to regulate it some, when it comes to open carry down armed security, you have to understand your life's not suddenly in danger more. That is a very crucial thing to think about. Just because somebody's open carrying a weapon now and it's legal does not mean your life is in danger more. So you do not need to escalate and treat that person as a higher level threat. Yes, they have a weapon. If they were concealed carrying a weapon, you should treat them the same. Granted, you didn't see it, so you didn't know, but treat it as if you didn't see it. Yes, you see it. If they reach for it and they try to pull it out and they're pointing it at you, then you operate in the legal capacity that you need to. But if it's just on their hip, obviously don't try to play tough guy because you have a gun, they have a gun. That's typically how it's always worked anyway. But I would say don't treat it too differently. Just let them know, hey, this is private business. We don't allow open carry here. If that's going to be the policy of the contract that you have, go put it in your car, secure it, and you will be good to come inside, or just conceal it if the business allows them to conceal carry and it's just a pistol. Say, hey, put your shirt over the weapon and then you're good to go. Most people who are law abiding, they'll just abide by the laws. They understand it's not a big deal. It's the same. I work nightlife a lot. We don't allow weapons inside of the contract that I have. Everybody understands it. Nobody argues it. It's just go leave it in the car. So open carry, as armed security, do not get overly cautious with open carry, or don't be on super high alert. Nothing changes for you. It's still legal. Criminals, they were gonna carry anyway. They were gonna bring weapons out. The type of person that you need to watch for in armed security, or at least you should know. So the type of people you need to watch for, go ahead and watch for those. But the people who are just open carrying and they're normal civilians, let them live in their everyday life, but have your understanding of the continuum of force. When you need to implement deadly force or you need to start escalating on your continuum, do so, but have criteria that you are measuring it by. Is the weapon in their hand? If the weapon's in the holster, they're good. they're good. Their weapon's in the holster, your weapon's in the holster. If their weapon's in their hand, now you need to contemplate having your weapon in your hand and potentially threatening to use deadly force. But we need to really play it smart as armed security. Don't just go bring your gun out. Don't play tough guy. Again, you want to be polite. You want to use customer service. Armed security is honestly 80%, 90% customer service, 10% use of force or deadly force, because you don't have qualified immunity. So you're on the hook for everything that you do. You're not a cop. There's no union coming to save you. There's no nothing like that. You are responsible for yourself and your client and making sure neither one of you end up in court on a lawsuit. So play it smart as armed security. If you're a business and you have questions about armed security and just need consulting, whether it is hiring my company at Red Team Protection or another company, just understanding the laws, you can reach out to me down below, info@triggertrainingacademy.com, or text my number 407-501-8369, and we can have a quick consultation for free and just understand what your needs are, what your legalities are, and what you need to do in order to protect your business. And let me think of another one. In terms of a car, we'll talk about a car real quick before we end this one. When it comes to carrying in a car, so now not much changes, but everything I've been saying before, just now there's no gray room around it. So I've said carry in front of your seatbelt buckle. I continue to believe that a holster is the most secure thing that you could use in order to keep a firearm safe in your car. So put your firearm into a holster and then put it anywhere else inside of the car that you would want, and you should be fine. Now, there has been no talk of them revising the Florida's carry in a car statute, which is 790.025. There's been no talk of them revising that. I do think they need to, and if you follow me on live, which is typically at 4:30 is when I go live, we could talk more in depth about that, but I do believe they need to revise that one. But as of now, we were permitless carry, which simply permitless concealed carry, which just meant you need to keep it concealed inside of the car. Now, since we're open carry, it means that, again, keep it in a holster, because I think we all reasonably believe that a holster is the safest mechanism. So keep it in the holster, and then from that point, wherever it is inside of the car, you should be fine to do so. Whether you put it on the passenger seat, whether you put it on a magnetic, the people magnets, or keep it in front of the seatbelt buckle like I do, you're perfectly fine. If you want to carry it on your person, again, you're perfectly fine to do so openly or concealed now. When the police pull you over, there is nothing they can legally do with that gun to charge you. Of course, I will continue to follow this, and if people are getting charged with improper storage laws or improper storage crimes or something like that, I'll address that as it comes up. But as of now, I've never seen a case study of somebody being charged with improper storage. It was usually always a possession of a concealed or possession of an open carry weapon. In the open carry case, Adams versus State out of the 3rd District Court of Appeals, that was down in Miami, which was just given a final opinion on June 25th of this year. And then you people who just historically have been given concealed carry charges before we went permitless carry, but many of those things have changed. So 18 to 20 years old, I would tell you guys, still do not keep it on your person. 790.025 explicitly says 18 to 20 should not be on your person, must be securely encased or not readily accessible. So inside of a holster counts as securely encased, or you could take that ammunition out of it. Again, apologies if I'm speaking too fast. I just kind of caught myself in that moment. 20 inside of a holster, and then you're good to go. If you are going to make it not readily accessible, which I just don't recommend, it's just not the way you should go. Fully loaded, one up top inside of a holster, and then you should be good to go from that point forward. As long as it is not on your person, you are good. And then if you're 21 plus, openly concealed, it doesn't really matter. I suggest the holster for safety, but there's nothing in the statutes right now that say you have to have it in a holster inside of the car. Yes, we do have the securely encased, but I do believe at this point, since we've gone permitless carry and now open carry, that strictly applies to 17-year-old or 18 to 20-year-olds, not 17. Scratch that, not 17. You are not allowed to be in possession of a weapon at 17. But at 18, securely encased or not readily accessible really applies to them. And then for 21 plus, you can openly or conceal carry that weapon on your person wherever you want inside of the car. Again, the holster is my best definition that you should follow. But everything else I've been saying, if you go back and watch this other video here, it talks fully in depth about carrying a weapon inside of a car, what you can and cannot do. But with open carry, now there's just nothing to worry about. In front of the seatbelt buckle, you're good. Holstered, you're good. I don't know what a firearm in plain view or with outside of a holster, if that carries a charge. So I can't say that as of now, but we just have to wait for clarity after the 15th. So this is just a preliminary thing of what I think it will stand as. But again, I do believe that 790.025 has to change as well, because there's a lot of contradictory things that are now have been passed since that law has been rewritten, even since permitless carry. And even with permitless carry, it became a little contradictory. So that's all we got. There's not much. I'm not going to go too in depth because we don't have, there hasn't been any laws written. Even with open carry being passed, there's no verdict that, has codified it into law. It's just kind of presumed that on the 25th, it will be into law. So that's all we have as of now. This is what, the advisement that I'm giving everybody. This is, what I see, how I'm interpreting it and what's going to be happening out there. So if you have any questions, of course, leave a comment down below. And if I think it's important enough, I'll make a whole separate video going deeper into that topic. So leave your questions down in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe so everybody can get educated about this, because unfortunately, Florida sheriffs, like, I do appreciate them and I do like what they're doing, but they're not going in depth in terms of really talking about each nitty-gritty topic. They're trying to just give an overview. So like, share, subscribe, give it to somebody else. Make sure that people are getting educated about this knowledge. If I missed anything, comment down below what I missed. If you have anything to add, comment down below. Again, I'll be on live most days at 4:30, so catch me on live, and we could talk further, or, you know, really get into depth about whatever our opinions are on the Second Amendment and how we can decrease gun violence. Without further ado, that is the end of it. I will see y'all later.